Hello, and welcome back to Community Viewpoint. My name is Dr. Christopher Sloot. I'm with KPVM. Thank you so much, KPVM, for having me. Thanks, Mike Rooney, for producing. I have a really special guest today. You'll notice I don't have any notes because if I can't have a conversation with my own fiance without notes, we have a big problem. Megan Mapes of the Nye Communities Coalition is here to tell you a bit about what the coalition does. Now, Ms. Mapes, I tend to forget some pretty pertinent details when I introduce folks.
Okay.
So I might say something like, Megan is a Sagittarius.
Scorpio,
that's what I thought. And her favorite new dipping sauce for chicken fingers is honey mustard, but I will not tell people what you do for a living. So that being said, why don't you introduce yourself? And I'm sorry, I should keep it professional. I'm going to stay on my side of the table.
I'm Megan. I am a program director at Nye Communities Coalition. I work across a lot of different departments that we have at the coalition. And a lot of the work that I do is focused in drug and substance use prevention, as well as youth education and mental health and behavioral health resources.
Awesome. So I've been wanting to have you on the show for a little bit. I've been wanting to talk about the coalition. I tend to start with the person, though. So tell me a little bit about how you got into the coalition. Well,
it's a very interesting story. I was dating a guy who got me to move out to Nevada, and while he was getting acquainted in his role as the director of the college, I'm talking about you as if you weren't here.
Right, it's probably a good idea.
He met Stacy Smith and started talking about me, and created an opportunity for me to sit down and get a tour of Nye Communities Coalition and start to learn just how big and how much stuff that they do and the impact that they have or have been trying to have on the community for the past 23-ish years at this point. And from there, I just said, this looks like an organization that I want to work for. And when an opportunity opened up, I jumped in to help with communications and grant management and now grant writing. And it's just been an amazing experience.
Very cool. Now, you have some experience and a history before Pahrump. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you have been navigating your professional journey.
So I've been all over. I'm a Midwestern girl at heart, came from Kansas. Before I made it out to Nevada, though, I spent about 6 years in Atlanta, Georgia. Very different experience than Pahrump.
Both from Pahrump and the Midwest, I'm sure.
Very much so. Working on my PhD in communication studies, learning about public address, how we communicate and interact with folks, and working on Department of Defense grant-funded projects, analyzing counterterrorism.
Wow, that's kind of cool. So for those folks who think that Megs is just like this communications guru, she's working on anti-terrorism. I forget that sometimes. It's both scary and reassuring.
That's why I had to take a break from it. And every time you kind of take a break or take a new path, you learn that new doors open and opportunities find their way into your life that kind of change and reorient you.
Very cool, very cool. So the coalition is one of the few topics that I've been wanting to talk about here on the show. And I think a lot of folks misunderstand what the coalition definitely does, not tries to do, but definitely does for our community. Tell us a little bit about what you all do.
So I don't think we have enough time to go over every single thing that happens at Nye Communities Coalition. What I can tell you is if you're interested in coming by and getting a tour sometime to meet some of the folks, I would be happy to help get you acquainted. We have a lot of different departments that go from our foundation, which is youth education-based drug prevention. So bringing curriculum into the schools, into the grade schools, middle schools, talking about how to build the skills to resist peer pressure, and talking about the problems with drug use and drug accessibility throughout our community. We have since expanded and built in a food security program that allows and helps to bring food into the schools, building food pantries. In the past 2 years, you got to build out a food pantry at the college with support of our food security team. We also have a huge workforce development hub that really works to introduce youth into how you develop the skills that you need to for entering the workforce. Also helping folks get their GED, get licenses for things like CDL driving, get your grants and scholarships for nursing programs. And then it just kind of expands and builds out from there to mental and behavioral health services. We have a team of community health workers that it's their job, quite literally, is to be the person who helps find all of the resources that are available for you and then help you figure out how you get access to them, whether it is for food, for housing vouchers, for employment, clothing for an interview, whatever it might be, right? We work on helping to get you access to as much as we can and becoming that resource for you. We have Bruce Downs, who is a Social Security benefits specialist.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So a little bit about the coalition. You have all these different branches, right? What are some of the things that you've been working on lately?
So one of the things that we have been working on lately, and anybody who's tuned into a commissioner meeting in the past couple of cycles might learn a little bit about, is our deflection program that is kind of built over the past 4 years. We are working in partnership with law enforcement to help provide support to folks who might need mental and behavioral health services when a police officer determines that they don't need to go into the jail system. Or we have people, it sucks to say this, right? But sometimes good people do bad things, or bad people do bad things, and they live in our community. They are going to get out of jail and they're going to come back into our community because this was always their home, and it has been. They don't know how to get access to their driver's license sometimes, or their birth certificate, or the things that they might need in order to find a job and get into housing and get into a more productive life and path forward that doesn't look like them committing crime or doing drugs or suffering because they don't have access to their doctor prescribed medications. So we also have a team that works to do some of that.
Very cool, very cool. So the one thing I love about the coalition, and I try to go every month, I think I've missed one or two or made them virtually, are these general coalition meetings every month.
Yes.
And if anybody sees me off the camera, or now I'll say it on the camera, I think one of our biggest issues here in Pahrump, Pahrump's a wonderful, incredible town. So if I bring up anything, it's just, it's a 98 out of 100, right? But we have so many nonprofits, so many folks who work on virtually the same things, but not communicating. What does the coalition do for those folks?
So this actually is where the birth of Nye Communities Coalition as a coalition kind of came from. When Stacy Smith was working for the school district, and we were organizing, I say we as if I've been here for for nearly as long as any of you watching have. They were organizing these community meetings because something that our leadership learned very quickly was that if we don't talk to each other, then we are going to duplicate services. We are going to step on each other's toes, and we're not going to be able to maximize our dollar in order to help as many people as possible. So our monthly general coalition meeting that happens on the third Wednesday of every month has been an opportunity for us to talk to all of the other nonprofits that are working and doing good and important work and providing services for our community, and make sure that we are working in partnership and coordination with each other so that we know what is available, and we know that Health and Human Services is doing a lot of great work in one area, and these food pantries are doing a lot of great work in another area. And Nevada Outreach is prioritizing child abuse, domestic violence, homelessness, and housing. So we don't need to start duplicating on top of that, and we can provide and focus services in another area, and we can support each other and provide that support, and then do outreach and share those things to our community. It's one of the ways that we have made the remote area medical event as successful as we have for the past 10 years, because our community partners have championed it, and they've been a beacon, and they come out and they volunteer and they promote it to their clients and their community every year.
And you don't need to be a nonprofit to attend, though.
Not at all. You don't need to be a nonprofit. You could be a community member who wants to know more, who wants to see how they can support. You can be a business. You can be you.
Awesome, awesome. And what separates this meeting from, let's say, other partnership meetings around town is there typically is a guest speaker and they talk about something.
Yes. So sometimes we will invite and bring folks who are doing work in our community in to talk about what they've got going on. So Big Brothers Big Sisters is a new community partner that is coming back into Pahrump in Nye County. So we've brought them in to talk about what's going on. Other times it might be stuff that somebody in one of our departments is really focused on. So March's coalition meeting is focused on March being National Nutrition Month.
Oh.
And a lot of the work that we do with SNAP Ed and health and wellness and healthy eating, and everything that happens at the farmers market. There's just like a beautiful mixture of that, and we'll get to learn a lot about what that means in March.
Very, very cool. Well, Ms. Megan Mapes, I want to thank you so much for being on Community Viewpoint with us here today. As usual, I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Salute. Just had kind of a fireside or curtain-side chat with my partner and fiance, Megan Mapes, who is at the Nye Communities Coalition. The information email has been flashing across your screen. The General Coalition meeting is the third Wednesday of every month?
Yep, so in March, it'll happen on March 19th, and it'll be at the Nye Activities Center. At 8:30 in the morning. We go from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. If you're interested, send an email to that info@nycc.org email address, and we will share the Zoom link, the information, the flyer with you, anything you would like.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much, Ms. Megan Mapes, for coming on to our show. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thanks to KPVM for having me here, and thanks again to Mikey Rooney for producing. This is Dr. Christopher Salute, and this is your Community Viewpoint. Thanks so much. Bye.